then when you went, holy cow, did it hurt. So half your brain's like, you better go to the bathroom, you're gonna embarrass yourself, you're gonna wet your pants. And the other half's like, don't do it, it's gonna hurt. And the kidney stone was like that Somali pirate in the movie Captain Phillips going, look at me, I am the captain of the ship now. I make the rules. And they had you pee through a strainer. Did they make you pee through a strainer? Because they want to find out what the stone's made of so they can take that out of your diet. So I felt like, you know at Christmas when you watch the old Rudolph thing, the prospector, Yukon Cornelius. That's what I felt like. Nothing. So y'all, this went on for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, every day I was in this pain. And you know, the thing would lodge and it'd block the urine, then it would move and it would hurt. And then all of a sudden I hit about 4 days where I felt great. And I thought, well, did I miss it in the strainer? Or maybe I passed it. And so I went back to the doctor and they took another x-ray. Well, the thing had lodged right in a bend in the ureter next to the bladder. But because it was lodged, it wasn't moving, so it didn't hurt. And it wasn't blocking the urine stream. And I'm like, hey, let's leave it there till the Lord comes back. But the doctor's looking at the x-ray, he goes, I don't like where that thing is at. He said, I'm gonna give you about a week to pass it, and if you don't, we're gonna have to go get it. I have a question. When you say go get it, what kind of trip are we talking about there? He said, well, we've got this flexible metal cord that has a retractable claw at the end of it. He said, we'll run that cord up the exit-only ramp, through the bladder. He said, we'll grab that stone and we will drag it out kicking and screaming. He said, once we get it out, we'll put a stent in that claw, go right back in a second time, and insert that stent into the walls of the ureter, which by now, quite honestly, have lost the will to live. He said, we'll leave it in there for 3 or 4 days. We'll go back in a third time, grab that stent, and yank it out. And I am thinking, since they outlawed waterboarding, this has got to be what they are doing to get terrorists to talk. So where's bin Laden? I do not know. All right, well, we're gonna get that little metal cord with a claw and see if we can't find a kidney stone. Oh, you sons of the beaches. He is living in Pakistan in a White House on the corner. The gate code is yeah. You will find him upstairs, last bedroom on the left. I'm telling the idea of 3 trips with the claw scared the willy out of me. I'm like, I'll do anything to avoid this. So I read online, they said cranberry juice might help you pass one. I'm guzzling it. I am jumping on the trampoline. I am doing anything to get rid of this stone and avoid the claw. And it must have worked, because a couple of nights later, my wife and I were watching TV. I got up at one point to go to the restroom, and right in the middle of it, I had just real quick, sharp pain. You know, it was like, ugh. Y'all, I looked down, and there is this black, spiky, little pea-sized marble rolling down the inside of the toilet towards the hole. And my mother always says, Jeff, you don't have to tell everything. And I'm like, Mom, there's good money in it, trust me, all right? That being said, I'm not proud of this, but when I saw the thing about to go down the hole, I panicked. And so I turned, and when I turned, I peed all over the wall in the bathroom, including a brand new roll of toilet paper. I stuck my arm in that warm toilet water, I grabbed that thing, and I pulled it out. I zipped my pants up, I marched down the hall into the living room, I went to the mantle, I took down my People's Choice Award, and I put it right up there in the track lighting. If you come by the house tomorrow, we'll all take a look at it. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for listening to me. You're terrific. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are great. I didn't say it was a masculine noise. I said it was a noise. About 10 seconds later, it hit me again. I was like, well, Dwayne, the kid that is ringing me up at the cash register, looks at me and says, and I quote, hey, I ain't no doctor, which caught me off guard. I mean, it did. Well, I just assumed that he was, and he didn't like wearing his stethoscope while he was changing the tires. He goes, I ain't no doctor, but I think you got a kidney stone because my brother had one, and that's what he acted like. And it's not that I didn't trust D. Wayne's diagnosis, but I got to thinking, you know, Jeff, you have a little money. Why not get a second opinion? So I have a buddy that's a urologist, and I called him. I said, dude, I think I might have a kidney stone. He said, well, come in, we'll take an x-ray. So they go in and take the x-ray, and he comes out, and he thinks he's a comedian. He's like, well, I got good news and bad news. He said, the good news is you don't have a kidney stone. Bad news is you have 5 of them, and one of them is huge. Well, he then proceeds to give me an anatomy lesson. He said the stones form in the kidneys. He said they don't hurt when they're there. He said, but from the kidneys, they pass through a tiny tube called the ureter down to the bladder. And he said a big stone can be 5 or 6 times wider than the ureter. And the word stone, they need to rename it. It's misleading, because when you hear stone, you think smooth river rock, gently tumbling. A kidney stone looks nothing like that. A kidney stone looks like a ninja Death Star. It's got spikes and claws and blades and hooks, so it's not sliding anywhere. It is cutting through nerves and muscles and blood vessels. And he said passing a big one was the equivalent of trying to get a porcupine to walk backwards through a garden hose. So you could see where there might be some discomfort. And I really thought I knew what pain was before this. I remember when I was about 20, I'm spending the night at a buddy's house, and I got up in the middle of the night to go get a glass of water, and I didn't turn the light on, and I hit my little toe on their coffee table. I broke it 90 degrees sideways, knocked the nail completely off. I laid in the floor and said the F word 148 times in a row. Next to a kidney stone, that made that seem like a bubble bath with Jennifer Aniston. See, and the thing only hurts when it moves. You just never knew when it was going to move. I mean, you'd feel great. You'd be talking to people. People are like, Jeff, what are you working on? I'm like, well, I was just out in L.A. filming some more of the American Bible Challenge. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Hold my hand. Help me, Jesus. They're like, boy, he takes that show seriously, doesn't he? But the pain was nuts. I read online doctors say it's the equivalent of a woman giving birth with no meds. Any women here given birth and had a kidney stone? And both. You've had both. Which one was worse? Giving birth. What about you? Giving birth. Here's my argument as defense attorney for the kidney stone. A year or two after having a baby, a woman will say, you know what, I'm about ready to have another child. You never hear a man say, well, I've about quit puking and crying. I think I'll drink a case of Coca-Cola and see if I can't work up another kidney stone. And when my doctor saw the big one, he immediately started writing me a prescription for Percocet. And I hardly ever take aspirin. I'm like, dude, you're wasting your time. I am not taking Percocet. Oh, you skinny mustache, bow-legged boy. When that thing started moving, I was eating Percocet like they were peanut M&Ms. I went from being Dr. Oz to Keith Richards in 3 seconds. And one night the pain was so bad, I'm telling you, I told my wife, I said, you got to take me to the hospital. The Percocet's not making a dent in this. So she drops me off there at the emergency room, and she goes to park the car, and I walk in, and I walk up to the desk, and the nurse said, so what's wrong with you? And I said, I have a kidney stone. And she kind of laughed. She goes, well, you're going to be waiting a long time tonight, hon. I said, no, ma'am, you don't understand. I said, I am in the worst pain of my life. She said, well, you just feel like you're going to die, but you're not. And I said, boy, you don't have a lot of sympathy, do you? She said, oh, you're looking for sympathy. Baby, that is in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. She said that. I looked it up later. She's right. I mean, it is. But she just hands me the clipboard to fill out. So I go in the waiting room. I sit down next to a guy that's got a knife in his head. He's got a knife
this year than it did last year. There's something going on in this country. Well, I like that warm weather. I don't like humidity, though. I lived in Florida for a long time, and you get it sticking down here good tonight. I had to shoot baby powder up there about every 3 minutes. I was down there in Florida. My mom had to make me a pair of boxer shorts out of a ShamWow when I was down there. I couldn't believe it. It was so hot in Florida one time, my grandpa replaced his hemorrhoidal suppositories with dilly bars. Dilly bars. This show should have been $300 a piece. All right, I'm telling you right now, that's a $300 joke right there. But it's hot in Florida in the summer. I remember in August one time I had a buddy of mine, about 420 pounds. He'd leave my Target with a little plastic kiddie pool. I said, you ain't gonna fit in that to be cool. He said, no, the game's on. That's for bean dip. I shouldn't talk about fat folks, though. I got my own problems, so. I started losing me some weight 2 weeks ago because I had a tragic event happen to me, kicked my butt in gear, and it sucks when you have to have a tragic event to make fat folk lose weight. And a lot of people, it's a heart attack or diabetes, and then let me tell you what happened to me 2 weeks ago. For the first time in my life, I had to show my titties to get out of a ticket. But I did see something that did change my life. I was reading an article the other day, and it said carbohydrates is the fastest way to the grave. And I told my wife right then after I read it, I said, sweetheart, mark this down on the calendar right now, from now on, done. I'm not reading nothing. All right? I ain't read nothing since. My wife has me on a diet now she come up with called the We're Not Having Sex Till You Lose Weight diet. That's what she had me on. This is my impression of my wife when we're making love. I've tried a lot of stuff, tried a dietitian. They're just taking your money. I go see a dietitian. You know what he says to me? Larry, you need to eat 6 times a day. I do that now. Well, tell you, if I eat 1 more time a day, you're going to see me at Walmart on a scooter wearing pajama jeans. All right? That's ridiculous. Went to see a trainer. The trainer says to me, how many push-ups can you do? I said, I don't know, regular or girl push-up. He says, either one of them. I said, neither one of them. All right, I can't do either one of them. I was on Nutrisystem in 2005. Remember my Nutrisystem commercials? That's right. I think they probably pretty pissed off at me about right now. I'm bad for business, I guess. I'm the only guy ever gone from Nutrisystem commercials to heartburn medication right here on tape. Man, I'm 5 pounds away from a sleep apnea contract up here. What the hell? No, look, Nutrisystem worked for me. I just didn't do it right. I didn't know you weren't supposed to eat the packaging. All right, that's my problem there. Oh, proud to say OTC. God love them. They ain't the first, you know, the first people ever wanted me to do a commercial was 2003, Blue Collar TV. You know how they promote alternative fuels to be used? In 2003, they wanted me to test drive a truck, a pretty good-looking truck that run on human waste. That's true. I drove it for 3 days. What a piece of crap. 3 days, no pun intended. I go through the Taco Bell drive-thru in that deal, flooded the engine when I went through that deal. You believe that? It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. A buddy of mine had to come down there to drive-thru, give me a jump fart when I was down there to drive-thru down. If you can find another comedian in the country with a punchline of jump fart, I will kiss your hind end right now in front of everybody, because you're never going to find that. That's right. That's the kind of humor that gets the Grammy nominations right there. I like to hunt. I know there's a lot of hunters up here, and when I hunt, I do it a little different than most people. When I hunt, I dress all in orange from head to toe, and I hunt down by the interstate. That way the deer just think I'm a prisoner picking up trash out there. For y'all that don't hunt, did you know this? Did you know a deer gets a new rack every year, just like the Kardashians? Did you know that's true right there? And living inside your body. I mean, what the hell? I go to Taco Bell, I feel like I'm about to have triplets 2 hours later, all right? I'm not kidding. I actually went breech on a chalupa 3 weeks ago. I really did. I really did. The doctor finally told her, she walked in there, oh, it's colitis. Well, I don't care what you name it, but it's a boy. All right, that's right. Tell you what keeps me young, though, is my wife. My wife's growed up on a 3,500-acre Black Angus cattle ranch, northern Wisconsin. And you could never tell in a million years that my wife grew up on a cattle ranch by looking at her either, because she's got a pig face. And I'm kidding. Hey, my wife's hot, all right? Anyway, she will be if she finds out about that joke I just did on television. Now, I wouldn't say that if she wasn't good. Look, my wife's hot. Hey, I made love to my wife. This is how hot she is. First of all, she was eating a banana the other day. The banana kept getting bigger, but that's beside the point. I made love to my wife a record hour and 4 minutes. So there you go. That's right. Of course, it was at daylight savings time, but let me just say this, all right? Let me just say this. But still, hey, but still, that's 2 hours more than normal. All right, so there you go. My wife's 14 years younger than me. Oh, boy, I'll never forget when she told me her age the first time. I almost choked on my pizza and dropped my game tokens. Let me tell you the one bad thing about being married to somebody younger than you. Nothing. All right, not a thing, that's right. Sometimes sex gets a little weird because she's younger. You're not, so it's like, hey, slow down a little bit here. Come on now, this ain't a prison visit. Slow down there. She always wants to try something new. Where should we make love at tonight? I don't care as long as I'm on a heating pad. All right, that's all I care about. We got our anniversary coming up, our 11 year. Last year, July 3rd, is our 10 year, and you have to go to the gift chart to see what to get her. And you know how they got the anniversary gift chart, 25 silver, 50 gold, that whole deal. So I think they ought to add some kind of a sexual component to that gift chart. The more sex you have, the better the gift is every year. I think that's a good incentive program right there. Hey, sweetheart. It's our 11-year anniversary coming up next week. I'm going to get you something here. Let me look at the gift chart. See, 11 years, all right. Had sex 3 times this year. Hey, look at that. You get the walkie-talkies. Look at that. That's nice. That's right. Or you can have anything on the bottom shelf there, too. That's pretty good, too. I like that. That's right. I like that John Fogerty mirror. That's a nice mirror right there. You can have that. Some of them Black Hawk slippers, them's nice. You don't see a lot of Black Hawk slippers like that. 75 years is diamonds. A little old for diamonds at that point. Hey, Grandma, them earrings go good with the pudding on your chin. My wife's birthday, she wanted a facial. I went one of them fancy hotels, got her one of them spa visits. I go in there, she got cucumber slices on her face. I'm like, what the hell? She goes, that takes the wrinkles out your eyes. No kidding. Well, cucumber slices? Huh. What did they do with the rest of the cucumber? Well, evidently that's another $100. You know what I got my wife last Mother's Day? A stripper pole. Had it installed in the bedroom. When she come home, she seen it. Get it done. And then for Father's Day, she give me a ride up to the hospital, get that pole removed from my hind end, what she gave me. You guys been awesome. Thank you so much, Minnesota. Thank you. We love coming up here. Get her done. I'm gonna bring Jeff Foxworthy back out, everybody. Jeff Foxworthy! There he is.
There he is. Take care, y'all. Thank you.
Get her done!
Thanks, y'all. God bless you. Be safe.
Oh, Minnesota code, buddy. We're chilling.
No more parents at Little League games. We've tried it, it doesn't work. Children's recreational sports were started for kids to have fun. It is the grown-ups that took the fun out of it. Seriously, parents, no more serious. Parents, no more yelling at the coaches. The coaches are not the reason your child is not going to play professional sports. Your genetics are the reason your child is not going to play professional sports. And no more trophies for everybody. No more not keeping score. Seriously, no matter how badly you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, the truth in life is there are winners and there are losers. And if you don't believe me, let's get in my car and go to Walmart after midnight. Walmart after midnight makes The Walking Dead look like America's Next Top Model. No more letting people over 65 forward emails. They can use the internet, they just can't forward emails. They cannot contain themselves, they forward everything. I spend hours a day deleting the emails of my father-in-law and my mother. And my father-in-laws are always the political ones. If you don't send this to 1 million people tonight, you are not an American. Well, I was going to watch TV, but this is going to take a while. And my mothers are always the humorous ones, which she mislabels in the subject line. She'll have funniest thing I've ever seen. No, it's not, Mother. It's 2 kittens in a clothes basket. At best, it's mildly amusing, and you're distracting me from surfing the web looking for nursing homes within driving distance. See, when it comes to technology, my wife and I laugh about this because we're in our mid-50s, and my wife says we are the bologna in the technology bologna sandwich. We're right in the middle because our parents can't text and our children can't write. My kids don't even think you need to study. They're like, Dad, if you want to know something, you just Google it. And to a point, they're right. I mean, when I was growing up, if you were watching TV and somebody said, what was that guy in? You'd go, well, he looks familiar. That was it. Now you're watching TV, somebody goes, what was that guy in? Somebody goes, he was the janitor on Joey. Of course he was. But I try to tell my kids, I said, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can learn from Google. I said, but there's just as much stuff you can't learn from Google. You only learn it from life experience. You'll usually learn most of it the hard way. It's stuff that's not Googleable. I don't know if that's a word. But I call them the facts of life. It's stuff you can't Google. Like this, fact of life. If you were trying to get to the bathroom in an emergency situation, it is not a wise idea to unbutton your pants in transit trying to save a couple of seconds. Because the muscles that guard the floodgates will interpret the unbuttoning as the signal to abandon their post, and the 2 seconds you saved on the button are nullified by the hour and a half you spend mopping and doing laundry. You only learn that the hard way. Fact of life, out of all the cereals, Captain Crunch is the most time intensive. Here's what I'm talking about. You eat it too soon after you pour the milk on, and you will rip the roof of your mouth to shreds. You wait too long after you pour the milk on, and the captain will put a film on your teeth a wire brush can't get rid of. Fact of life, you can have a wife with long, beautiful hair, or you can be on time. Fact of life, if a cable or satellite company promises you something for free, in 6 months you are going to get a bill that looks like Ron White's bar tab.